Dallas Cheer would like to welcome you to
Falcon Football Weekly.
Center snapping. Here we go. Shot drill. Ready, set.
You were tuned in to Falcon Football Weekly. I'm John Piper, back for Season 2. We visit with Coach Michael Young each and every week to talk all things Lake Dallas football. And I'm pleased to be joined by none other than head coach Michael Young. How you doing, Coach?
Doing great. Glad to be back for another year.
Yeah, it's hard to believe. I believe if my numbers are adding up correctly, this starts your 25th year in the high school coaching business.
Yeah, that's a long time, but it's still fun and it's still really exciting this time of year, and we're looking forward to another year.
Well, we were just talking yesterday, and we were preparing for this show, how miserable it's been for both your players and the staff prepping for this 2019 season. I could tell just in the tone of your voice, Coach, it didn't really feel like football yet because, it's been 100, 101, 102 each day. I bet it felt more like football season today with practice. There were gray skies, temperatures back in the low 80s. A little bit of rain. Did you notice there was a little more bounce in everybody's step today out on the practice field?
Oh, most definitely. And a lot more excitement and energy in practice. It's those days are really hard, and we're all used to them. It seems like every year we get to right when practice starts, it gets probably the hottest 4 or 5, 6 days of the year. It seems like it's like that every year, but it seemed really rough because we didn't have, a lot of those hot days of summer to get used to it until it just all of a sudden happened. And, but the energy was great today. I thought our kids handled the really hot days well. So, but it's glad to get those over. It's not fun. It's not good for the kids. It's not healthy for them. It's, dehydrates them. People, tend to get hurt more. So it's glad to hopefully get those over with after today.
Now, Coach, I've often heard that, when it's 100 degrees outside on those turf fields with the rubber membrane or the pebbles that are down there to soften the blows, that it gets to be an additional 15 or 20 degrees. Have y'all ever measured that? Do you know exactly what the field temperatures get there at Falcon Field?
We've had our trainers do it, and it definitely can get 10 or 15 degrees, 20 degrees hotter on the turf, and that's why we like to spend some time on the grass. Even especially those first week when we did a lot of our conditioning and stuff, we would go back to the grass fields. It's a lot cooler. You can definitely tell the difference, and it's nice to have some areas of grass where you can practice and work. It does make a big difference in the temperature.
Well, we were just talking, starting your 25th season here in high school coaching. You've seen many changes in the way the game is played and the talent on the field in today's game. They're just bigger, faster, stronger athletes. What do you miss most about the early days when you first got started?
We talk about this a lot, and I think kids are a lot the same. I think the game has obviously changed some in the passing game and the spread and different things, but I still see teams kind of go back to the old style of knockdown football. I think there's a lot of things that have changed, but the kids have kind of stayed the same. That's what's been nice about football and nice about coaching it. I think one thing that's made the biggest difference for me is, and a lot of people around, is the recruiting part of the game. The select 7-on-7 and things that go on during the summer. Those are the things that are kind of different that I think kind of distract from, just the kids wanting to play for their school and their teammates. There just seems to be a lot more emphasis on where they're being recruited and who's seeing them. And that's probably the biggest difference that I see.
And one of the big changes, Coach, and I know you're not a big social media guy, but the Twitter universe and, all the announcements and the video and the recruiting hype and the coaches, the college coaches and recruiting coordinators that get in on that too. That definitely, didn't exist, 8, 9, 10 years ago.
Oh no, it was the only connection they had with those college recruiters is when they came to visit, and they would see him there. So Yeah, it's totally different, and I understand it's big money. It's big money for these parents. It's a big deal for the kids, and but it's just a shame. I think some of us got in the way of the kids being able to enjoy what's in front of them, and that's their high school career. I just hate that it's kind of turned into a business to that part of it, because like I tell the kids, you're never guaranteed anything later after this. There's a lot of kids that go off to play football the college football and never play down of it. They never get the experience in a game. And I hate for them to kind of lose the experience that they have in high school football, what they have right in front of them. And that's kind of the regret that I see in some of the kids now.
Well, hey, for all the future Falcons that are listening right now, that 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th grader, have a plan B, have a plan C, work hard in school. They say academic All-American for a reason. You gotta handle yourself in the classroom before you can do it on the field, right, Coach?
Oh yeah, that's what it's about. It's about going to the right school and your education. It's so hard, and we've been so lucky to have some kids that have gone on to the NFL. But if you think of all the kids that we've had play here, in percentage to them, it's really, really difficult. So it's about making the right grades and going to the right school and finding the right place where you can graduate and go on, because there's going to be a whole lot more of it, whole lot more to life than just football. So, but what you have in high school is right there with you. You need to enjoy it, because that could be all that you get. So enjoy that time with your teammates, the people you've grown up with, and your community and your school.
That's a great message, Coach Young. Now let's get right to it. You lose your key leader and quarterback to graduation last season, Ryan Deppersmith, really the epitome of a high school athlete. He did whatever you asked him to do. I saw him play several Friday nights, and he would be banged up and hurt, but he never ever wanted to come out of a ball game, no doubt. Always left it on the field. I even followed Lake Dallas during their run in the postseason on the baseball field, and he was a key contributor on the baseball team as well. Now you move Brandon Ingle into the quarterback spot from receiver last season, where he shined and really has been recruited and committed to play college ball at the receiver spot. How has Brandon embraced this new role in his senior season there at Lake Dallas?
Well, Brandon, when he first came into our program, he played a lot of quarterback. He always has from his freshman, sophomore year. It's nothing new to what he's done. And, he could have been a good quarterback last year, but, it was better for our team, obviously, with him at receiver and everything to be there, but he's embraced it. He hasn't been able to play a lot. He's got back healthy this week. We've had to go on with Trevor Moon in his last two scrimmages, but we hope to get him some playing this week, and if not, for sure the next week. But he's taken the role. He's just a great football player. He could play any position and be one of the best in our district at anything he plays, whether it's safety, linebacker, receiver, quarterback, whatever it is.
Now, without letting too much out to the opponents, have you worked up some plays where you'll weave in, a wildcat type quarterback and then move Brandon out there to the receiver position and kind of mix things up a little bit?
Well, I think the main thing is getting Brandon back healthy, and when that happens, to be able to do, because the main thing that we're going to want to do is get the ball in his hand. And whether that's him at quarterback or we're throwing it to him or we're handing it to him, whatever it is, he's one of those dynamic players. That's going to be our job to do that. So when he gets all the way healthy, I can definitely see him doing different things, playing quarterback every once in a while, maybe lining up where we try to throw it to him, hand it to him, whatever. And between him and Kobe Minor, they're two really dynamic players with the ball in their hand, and that's for us to score points and us to win games. It's going to be our job to kind of get them the ball when we can. Obviously, Kobe is very important to our defense, and he's going to have to play a lot of that. But when we get him on offense, is be able to use him to either get the ball in his hand and score, or use him to set somebody else up.
Well, Brandon brings that big frame in there, 6'3", almost 200 pounds. And like you mentioned, Kobe's just a playmaker, whether he's playing, on a defensive back position or on offense. Another player we talked a lot about last season was IK. He's a big part of your offense and will be important in the running game to free up Brandon to do some things in the air, or whoever you got back there playing quarterback. He's running behind your anchor on the offensive line, Kellen Culberson, big kid, 250 pounds. What are your expectations for IK and some of the other offensive players this season?
Well, IK is going to be a big part of what we do, and I think the big focus that we made in the off season, our offensive coordinator, Coach Males, has been here an awful long time, and we've scored as many points and thrown the ball around as much as anybody the last 14 years. So, and he's been a great part of that. But with the new people we have in, coming back on offense, and we made a big commitment to being better at running the football. So IK is going to be a big part of that. Our offensive line is going to be obviously a big part of that as well. So that's going to be the big thing that we hope we see here in the week 1 against Denton is how well we're able to run the football. And it's something that I don't think struggled with because we haven't had to do it, but I think it's going to be something to see if we're able to do it successfully like we think we're going to be able to.
And on the defensive side, to win at any level, you got to be able to stop the opponent. And that was some of the challenge last season is you're able to put points on the board, but slowing down the opponent, presented some challenges. You return, we talked about him a minute ago, Kobe Minor, Zach Blakely at linebacker, Christian Hernandez, defensive back, and then big defensive tackle, Michael, 6'3", 265-pounder back again. Who are going to be some other key contributors that are maybe coming up from sub-varsity play last season that we can look for to really step in and fill some gaps on the defensive side?
Well, I think one thing that's going to help our defense more than anything that we've probably struggled with or probably haven't helped them with is controlling the ball and running the ball. And that's, like I said, we've been one of the best passing teams in the DFW area there's probably just a handful of teams that maybe have thrown it for more than us for the last 10 to 14 years. So, but when you do that, you put such a bind on your defense. So I think we're going to help our defense, and I really feel good about our defense. Our front four has looked really, really good the last two, scrimmages. I'm excited about them. We have depth there too. Christian Crawford, Michael Swallow, Junior Flores, Kevin Uka. We have a couple guys that come off the bench in Caden Liston and Raja Singh. Those two guys would have started for us in most other years, and they're the guys that are in our rotation. We're able to rotate all them and keep them fresh. So I've been really excited about them. And Joseph Taylor at corner, Zach Blakely, it played a lot last year. We're excited about him. Winger, Puckett. And we have linebackers that can rotate in. Kellen Ferguson's going to be a big player for us. Austin Arvizo, Malachi Barnes. We have a lot of guys that can play. We've gone into defense before. We had about 12 or 13 guys that could play. I think we have about 18 or 19 that can play. So we're excited about our defense, and I think they're going to be really good. We've given up one score in 2 scrimmages against 2 pretty good teams. A team that won the state championship in big school, private school last year in Bishop Dunn, and then Azle, who's picked to be, a district champion, picked to go 3 or 4 rounds. So we're excited about our defense.
And that helps set the tone. I know scrimmages, both teams are trying some new things out, inserting players that maybe normally don't play, but it's good that you like what you see so far in the preseason. And you've always done a great job lining up athletes, that can play both sides of the ball, not always an overpowering type of athlete, but the fast, the nimble, the kids that can play multiple positions, I think has been a key hallmark to your Lake Dallas Falcon defenses.
Yeah, it's kind of the way we are now. We're not we're not very big on either side of the ball. We have 3 offensive linemen that are starting right now that are right at 200 pounds and 6 foot or less. So, and that's kind of unheard